You're sitting in class and all of a sudden your phone vibrates. You take it out to see that your best friend has just tagged you in a new Instagram picture. You have to go look at it right now. Before you know it, after looking at the picture, you make your way to Facebook, and then to Snapchat, and then back to Instagram. You finally put your phone away to look at the clock and see that you've just wasted 20 minutes scrolling on social media. Next, you hear your professor say, "I hope you were listening because I won't be repeating any of the information I just stated." Let's be honest, how many of you guys have been in a situation similar to this? I hate to say it, but I know I have. Social media has become something that you just can't get rid of in today's world, and that's what we'll be talking about today. Being a young adult in today's society, I have firsthand experience with social media, but I've also done extensive research as well. In 2018, social media is something that affects our everyday lives, and I think it's important for us as individuals to realize how that could affect us both negatively and positively. Social media is a great addition to today's society because we can disseminate information quickly, but there can also be consequences to our personal life. I'll be explaining both sides of the controversy over social media, but first I will begin with the benefits that are acquired from it. Many people claim that a major benefit of social media is that it allows us to get information out to a large group of people in record time. While some of us might use social media to connect with one another or share pictures, it can also be used during great times of need to spread important information regarding large disasters and health-related issues. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but Facebook is beneficial in regards to large disasters because they actually have a safety check button. And this button allows people in areas where large disasters have occurred to check in and let their family know that they're safe. When the wildfires were happening in Southern California later this last year, my cousin lives there, and she checked in that she was safe and let us know that her and her family had moved to a safe location, so we didn't have to worry about them. I also saw this feature being used during hurricanes, and people were letting others know who was safe and who wasn't. Another piece of supporting evidence is that according to the New England Journal of Medicine, during the first hour and a half of the 2007 massacre at Virginia Tech, students were posting on-scene photos and evidence of what was actually happening. This is beneficial because it can urge people to stay away, and it can also inform officials about what's going on. Social media is also the perfect tool when asking for help after disasters have occurred. Social media platforms make it much easier for donation sites to be set up. For example, according to USA Today, the Red Cross raised $429 million for those affected in the recent hurricanes. If we didn't have this huge social media platform, I don't think that would have been possible. This is further supported because according to the New England Journal of Medicine, more than 40 million Americans use social media sites multiple times a day. When people are going on multiple times a day, it means that they're going to see the information that is put out there. Social media can be useful in regards to healthcare and disease as well. According to Lee Ace, a public speaker for the Mayo Clinic Social Media Network, he says, social media has been responsible for relevant changes in both personal and community health, especially by making it easier for large numbers of people to rapidly share information. When information is more accessible to the public, we become more aware of the issues at hand and we can better deal with them. An example of this is an article I read by CBS News about a woman named Christina DePinto. She was pregnant and she had posted a Facebook status asking her friends and family for advice. She had extremely itchy skin and was seeing if any of them had any tips. Someone on her Facebook page had said that it might be ICP, which is intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy, and recommended that she see her doctor as soon as possible. When she saw her doctor, she did in turn have ICP, and she decided that she was going to share her story with others on Facebook so she could help other women if they were experiencing the same thing. There was also a study done at Kansas State University that showed most people found out about illnesses and preventative measures from Facebook and other social media sites. Social media sites can also be helpful in regards to support groups. So if someone is suffering from a disease or condition that no one else they know has, they can turn to these support groups to have encouragement and support. Social media can be a crucial tool that helps us in regards to spreading information about large disasters and potential diseases and symptoms that we should be aware of. Now that I've covered important ways that social media helps us, there are also some ways that social media can cause problems. A disadvantage of social media is that, unfortunately, it can have harmful effects to our personal life. Sometimes we engage in too much social media, and it can have an effect on our emotional well-being. Published in the American Journal of Epidemiology, a recent study from researchers at the University of California, San Diego, and Yale University showed that using Facebook regularly can negatively affect a person's well-being. It can cause anxiety, depression, and also suicidal thoughts. In 2016, a study by the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine also showed that social media can negatively affect us because oftentimes we spend a significant amount of time, and once we're done, we end up feeling like we've just wasted a large chunk of our day, which can have negative effects on our overall mood. John Cacioppo, the director of the Center for Cognitive and Social Neuroscience at the University of Chicago, is the world's leading expert in loneliness. He says that forming connections with online friends is very different than having actual relationships in the real world. Cacioppo did an experiment where he looked at the loneliness of his subjects in comparison to their frequency on social media. And what he found was that the more face-to-face communication and connections that we had, the less lonelier we were. But if we were having more online connections with one another, we actually became lonelier. Cacioppo states that social media is basically a tool, and it depends on how we use it. So for example, if I'm using social media to set up a game of soccer or football with my friends, that's a really healthy way to use it. On the contrary, if I'm turning to online social media and using those connections instead of outside connections, that would be unhealthy. While many experts agree that social media lets us keep up with our friends and family, it's slowly harming our real person relationships. Sometimes our online interactions can affect us because we see large amounts of friends and followers on these sites, which makes us feel like we have a lot of support. When we actually need that support in real life, we might end up feeling sad and let down because we don't actually have that support. Social media can also affect our real life experiences because sometimes when we're with our friends, we end up taking Snapchats or posting Instagram photos, and we're more concerned about taking those photos and writing statuses instead of actually experiencing those things with our friends. We also tend to put things on social media instead of actually communicating and talking to our friends and family about our lives. Didn't you see that on Facebook? Seems to be the ever so common question because that's where we post all of our life experiences and the happy things that happen to us. We don't really call each other to tell our friends and family that we got that new job promotion or we just adopted a dog. Instead, we take a picture and we post a status to Facebook. Posting everything on social media takes away from the personal aspect of our lives, and sometimes when we're sitting with groups of people, we might actually find ourselves with nothing to say because we've already seen it on social media. As I've stated, spending too much time on social media can cause negative effects on our emotional well-being as well as potentially harming our friendships. Now that we've examined both sides of social media, let's review the main elements once again. Social media is beneficial because we can quickly become informed about natural disasters and health-related topics. But there are also disadvantages, such as harming our emotional well-being and friendships that we must take into consideration when using it. So the next time you're in class thinking about taking out your phone, I hope you think about how it can actually affect your life.